I assume he's on his way. Okay. Thanks, Mr. All right, we'll call this meeting to order. Do a roll call here. Kyle Rogers. Here. W.C. McBride.
Yo.
Chris Perry. Edward Lovers. Dylan, I have not heard from you yet. Charlotte, you heard from Dylan?
No.
Okay, surprise. We all hear from Dylan. We have a forum, so we can go ahead and continue with this. We have a few other people in our meeting today in person, obviously. Department of Finance head over here is Tyler Payne, everyone knows Mr. Payne. And we got Miles, who is sitting in for, you're not sitting in for, you're coming in for Denise.
Yeah, Denise, she's on her way. She's retiring June 30th. So
Okay.
I'm kind of transitioning, trying to learn everything I can.
Are you gonna be taking her position?
We don't know. Yeah. I haven't been, told that, but.
Well, if you don't want it, just ask us, we'll request it.
Yeah. I see that too, so,
Okay, we'll get you in just a second, Miles.
Okay,
Let's
yeah.
move on. Item number 2, approval of today's meeting agenda. I'll recommend or entertain a motion.
I make a motion.
Motion to approve it. Correct, ABC? Motion to approve it?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I have a second. Any discussion? The only thing we're doing on here is I'm moving up the new business, I believe it is, or old business. What do you call it? New business, item number 4, about the home inspector board name change. We're actually moving that up to item number 3 right before the hearing, because the attorney over there has a meeting to go to, and some of you are not here. So
Yeah.
all in favor, say aye.
All right.
Any opposed? And Dylan is here as well. Good. All right. Miles, go ahead, bud.
Yeah, thank you. So pretty straightforward. The board wanted to change the name from registration board to licensing board. So what I did was, throughout the statute, I've changed, in addition to changing it from registration board, I changed to licensing board. Then I also, like on the first definition, instead of using registration, I just substituted a license. So for example, applicant means a person who's applying for a license or renewal of a license, as opposed to what it currently says, applying for registration or renewal registration. And that's little things like that throughout the statute, change from registration or register to license to licensing. And then we also amended it to authorize electronic renewal notices. There's the statute, it mentions mailing out renewals. I think we just added mail or email. So people can renew online if they so choose. We're going to that, so that's yeah. But other than that, pretty straightforward. And I know another board did this recently. Denise mentioned, it's escaping which board, but I don't think it was any issue. So I think it should be fine. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them. But
I was talking about so no, it's fine. We just need to, I guess, read it again.
No, we'll talk about that. I don't think it.
all right.
But what is it? No, Miles, I think that's it.
Okay.
Appreciate
Well, yeah. Thank y'all. Have a good day.
All right, thanks.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Rob.
Okay, move on. Item number 3, the hearing for that was scheduled for today has actually been postponed until next month. That was the home inspector requested it be moved. The attorney agreed, so we're going with that. So we'll add that to our July meeting. Item number 4, approval of minutes for March, April, and May. They are still incomplete at this time. Charlotte will probably have them caught up by July. July's meeting, we'll get everything going in. But I'll entertain a motion about the minutes. You make a motion to table?
That's right.
Okay. Dylan,
I'll make a motion to table to the next meeting.
Kyle, second. All, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? All right, approval minutes are tabled till next month. Item number 5, financials. Same situation here. We're still trying to get caught up on financials. Hopefully that's gonna happen in the next couple months. More than likely, it's gonna be after EOP gets started. So it's gonna ease up some stuff going on. Okay, I'll entertain a motion on this as well.
Question. So,
Hang
we're,
on. I have a second. Any discussion now?
well, I was just gonna say, so we have an estimated, we're hoping to go live on ELP for the next annual, between now and December.
We're here. We're getting to that, but yes. Actually, we have a day, hard date, August 1st. There it is. What's that? Sorry, sure. Chris is quiet. Any other discussion on this financials? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Financials are tabled till next month. Moving on to item number 6, status of complaints, appeals, hearings. Yeah, the representative at all, Charlotte?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was right on top of you. Okay, so then you are,
Lacey Kirchner.
that's it.
Yes,
Joe
Village
told
of
me,
Virginia.
Joe told me you were gonna be here, and completely when the hearing thing went out, I completely lost it, so.
It's perfectly all right.
Go ahead, Les.
Well, I actually don't, other than what's in y'all's agenda, I don't really have much to say, other than the hearing that was scheduled for today, it was moved because the licensee did ask based off of some medical issues. And since that's pretty much an automatic overturn by a judge, if we proceed with, somebody asked based off the medical issue, that was why we recommended and asked that it go ahead and be continued till next month. And number 2 on your old complaint, it actually looks like it was, Joseph, that was dismissed last month, at your last meeting, so. And then there's no, I don't have any updates on your new complaints.
All right, if I have anything else.
Well,
All right, let's move on to item number 7. Renew or review of new applicants. Check where you want to do this.
I've got my list. I make a motion, we approve number 1, number 2, number 3, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, number 11.
We got number 6.
Don't have no names. I just-
Christopher Harper.
Okay, I was gonna make sure you got the next few minutes. All right. All right, so I have a motion to approve number 1, David Atherton, number 2, Edward Bonadillo, number 3, William Cloud, number 6, Christopher Harper, number 7, Frank Magnet. I'm gonna leave that on. And then number 8, Keith Miller, number 9, Matthew Nichols, and number 11, Bryce Rusco. Got a second? I have a second. Any discussion on these? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Did everyone get the names that I just read off there? So I got Ed, you're on there. Bryce, you're on there. Chris, you're on there. I think that's it. You guys been approved for your licensing. It will take a week or maybe a week and a half to get your card. Please do not do any inspections until you get your card, and don't call or email Charlotte asking where your license card is. It is coming. It's in the mail. Okay. So give her just a little bit of time to get that done. If you have any questions, you can get on the board's website and call me directly. It'd be fine. All right, moving on. Item number 4, new applicants.
Can any of the rest of us ask questions about who weren't approved?
You're not on there yet, Derek. We're getting to you. Hold tight.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. All right. Applicant number 4, Stephen Comer.
Make a motion, we approve.
I have a motion to approve. I have a second. Second. I have a second. Any discussion?
Or was it not an additional batch?
Stephen Comer, what?
Number 4 was, he was an out of state.
He's from, that one's from,
As far as like the numbers. I had number 4, Stephen Comer. Yeah, I had number 4, Stephen Comer. Let me see which list you were,
I've got Stephen Comer.
is that who you're talking about?
Yeah. He's from out of state, right?
Yes,
Kansas or what?
Kansas, that's one.
There was something on his application.
Background check was pending as of day before yesterday.
Yeah.
That is the only thing, you know.
But there was something, there was something on there, it wasn't 100%, I just wrote it down.
Is he related to Lowell?
I don't know. Steve Comer, you're on the line.
Yes, I am.
Oh, you can ask. Okay, hang on one second. We're looking over your application. There was a question in there.
Okay.
One thing I do want to remind you, Stephen, is when it comes up for renewal, we're going to start doing the renewals online anyway. You cannot just provide for the report a link to your website to download the report. You have to actually send a report, okay?
Okay.
I didn't know if the other states are like that or not. I just want to make sure you're clear on that. That's what I had down. Let's see what WC has for you. Hold on one second.
That was, I don't know, I didn't write down what the question.
The only thing I
He
saw,
was out of state and the Virginia, and all that stuff were in good standing.
Mhm.
That was it.
the only other thing in there is his background check has not. been
That's
done.
not clear. Then that was it. But the other one, Virginia and Kansas.
Yeah.
They were in good standing, so there's no, other than the background check, that was all.
You want to modify your motion, you want to leave it as is?
Make a motion when, we receive his background check, that he be approved.
So we have a motion to administratively approve Stephen Comer upon receipt of his good clean background check.
Yep.
Any other discussion? I have a second by Kyle. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? All right, Stephen, you're approved. Did you hear my speech about calling and bothering Charlotte? Give her a week and a
Oh,
half.
I'm sorry, I was only able just now to get logged in.
That's fine. You're approved to do inspections in the state of Arkansas. Please don't do any until you get your license card, and it may take a week to week and a half to get that. Don't call up here in that time period trying to pressure Charlotte to get it, okay? She'll get it to you as soon as she can.
All right, thank you very,
If you have any questions, get on the board website. You can call me directly.
okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Moving on to Alfred Diggins, number 5.
Make a motion, we approve number 5.
I have a motion to approve. I have a second by Kyle. Any discussion?
Multiple state guy too.
What was your- so what was your question again?
Seemed like he took his courses and all that.
Oh, two. He's been licensed since then.
I know, but that's.
Oklahoma, no, Mississippi, I think Mississippi.
Okay.
I think he also has something from Tennessee, even though they're a non-licensed state, he has a card from them to do business there. So he's been doing those since 2002. International did the masters inspector deal in 2004. So in 2004, he already done 2,000 inspections. So it's like having a contractor that's been licensed for 10 years. At the board. And
There's a lot more stuff that needs to go out of state of over, because I didn't see everything.
And what they sent was stuff from their education and stuff that's required by their state. That's what they sent in. So she just didn't scan all that.
continue ahead as long as he's up on it, and that's, I just thought we needed to
Well,
discuss it since
he-
it's been out of state.
He's not doing any. All right, yeah, they're in there.
That's
He's
all
got a
we-
letter
that's all
stating,
we need.
I think his exactly are 20 hours a year that he's got since then. And they're all in good standing. Okay? Any other discussion? All in favor of approving Alfred Dugas, say aye. Any opposed? All right, Alfred Dugas is approved for licensure. Now move on to Ken, Derek Pritchard.
Make a motion, we approve number 10,
Derek Pritchard.
Derek Pritchard.
I have a second by Kyle. Any discussion?
Insurance.
We wanna-
It wasn't signed, didn't have his name on it or something, I just wrote down there.
That's sort of 727 on this. thing. Let me see.
It was listed as an insured.
Yes.
It was.
it's there. His name is actually listed up here at the top underneath the business. Has the correct address for us on the bottom. And you can see the signature for the agent. I didn't see any issues.
I had missed his name at the top.
Any other discussion on Mr. Pritchard? No? All in favor of approving Derek Pritchard for licensure, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. I don't think, yeah, it's Derek, you're still online, right, Pritchard?
Yes, sir.
You're approved for licensure? Okay.
Wonderful.
You heard my speech about doing inspections or calling the
Yes,
board?
sir.
Got you. Thanks, sir. Have a good day.
Thank you so much.
All right, moving on, number 12, Evan Wolf.
Make a motion, we approve Evan Wolf.
Have a motion to approve. I have a second by Kyle. Any discussion? What was your question there?
That was, he was, been made application and we got the stuff to finish him, right?
Nope, different one. We're getting him next, it's the Benjamin. Yeah.
I just got a question on it. My question is, the insurance is under pillar to post and it shows two inspectors. Evan Wolf and Leanne Wolf.
We had that last, well, previously, it's like a father and son,
Father, but
But they were both licensed. Is she
so
licensed?
that was my question.
Is she licensed? His wife on the insurance? She's on the insurance, but is she licensed?
Not those others.
that's what was the deal before. The son-
She's listed on there as an insured, but she's not a licensed home inspector.
The one last month was, father and son,
Right.
and he had said that his son is going to watch his wife.
Yes, it's fine. And that may be the case here. But as far as licensure for Mr. Wolf, everything is good.
Yes, but the insurance names two people, and I was questioning if she's not licensed in the state.
She might be on it. Mr. Wolf, are you on the line? got one iPhone.
Right. Very bottom, it had both of them listed. And the question is,
Well, but,
I'm just asking,
I know,
if
so
there's not a deal, there's not a problem.
that's something we need to keep an eye on. Are you leaving?
Yes, sir. Anything this committee need from us today for finance? Any questions? You've already.
Nothing that you can do directly now.
Ladies and gentlemen, help ready.
Thanks, thanks, Tyler. Have a good day. All right, so that's something we need to keep an eye on. But as far as his application, any issues with it? They can do whatever they want on the insurance. If they start doing inspections, then we can interject. But we'll just look for her to come through to be inspected as well.
Maybe nudge them saying, hey, she can't do inspections until she's fully licensed.
We talked about it, there's name on there.
Right. For all I know, he or she's holding the ladder. They want to be insured, but I mean, I don't know.
Right, that's the thing, they can insure whoever they want. So Charlotte, when you send Mr. Wolf a card in, you put a note in there, just clarifying that his wife, even though she's insured, she is not licensed to do inspections in the state of Arkansas. That's all I gotta say. Okay, sure. All right, all in favor of approving Mr. Wolf, say aye. Any opposed? All right, Mr. Wolf is approved. He's not online. All right, moving on to number 13, Benjamin Rivas. This is for reconsideration. This is the one last month, I believe, brought his packet in front of us, but he wasn't scheduled to take his exam until like the next day. So we told him wait till he passes it, then resubmit. And that's what he did. That's what we're at now. Okay. I have a motion to approve. I have a second by Kyle. Any discussion?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in there.
Yes, it's in there. Well, we did.
Well,
Yeah.
I didn't have time to look at it.
I understand. All right. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ben Rivas, you're approved for licensure. You heard my comments a little bit ago about licensing and so forth, right?
Yes, I did, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Wolf just popped on.
I see that. Mr. Wolf?
Hello, sir.
Hey, did you have a question about something?
No, I did not. I was just jumping in. I just saw their email. Like they sent it out yesterday. I just saw the email this morning
Okay.
and with the link.
Well, you are approved, okay? You
Okay.
already voted to approve you. Now, can you answer a question?
Yes, sir.
Is your wife going to be doing inspections?
No, it's just gonna be me and my father. My father and I are doing this together. He hasn't taken his test yet. We both were going through pillar to post together. He hasn't taken the exam yet, but he will be this month.
Leland. His name is Leland, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, that answers our question.
All right.
Thank you.
I looked under the last
I was-
name and it wasn't nobody.
His glasses are old, it's okay. Mr. Wolf, thank you for applying. You are approved to be licensed in the state of Arkansas. Please don't do any until you receive your inspection card with your number on it. That will take approximately a week to a week and a half to get in the mail. If you would, please don't call up here and keep asking for that. It is coming, okay? If you have any questions directly, you can find my number on the board's website and call me directly, okay?
Okay, perfect. Sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to, that was all of our applicants. Moving on to item number 8, continuing education, career restriction courses. Let's see.
I've lost my paper. I need a list. I printed it all out and I lost it. Number one, I got it, but I had that one you sent me with the highlighted.
Okay.
Oh, it's on the back here, okay. Make a motion, number one, ABC for 4 continuing ed hours be approved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second.
I'm sorry, 4 CE courses, classroom and visual be approved. I said that.
Yes. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Make a motion, ATI home inspector training, 1 online course renewal be approved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second by Kyle. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Number 3, American Home Inspectors, 12 online courses be reapproved.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second by Kyle. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
McKissick, we have 4 courses. C and D are reapprovals. Make a motion, we approve the reapproval.
Okay, I have a motion to approve C and D.
I'll second.
I have a second by Kyle. Any discussion?
Yes.
Yeah.
I had to scramble a year ago or so to redo my license in another state, and I found McKissick, and I took one of their 3-hour courses in about 5 minutes. So I'm wondering, how do we regulate these online?
Was it online or was it correspondence?
It's online, of course.
Online, they can do that. Correspondence, no. It depends. There's online, there's virtual.
This is online, no virtual.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the difference in our way it's worded. Do you remember how,
I remember when she called in, but I just have to look at what the paperwork that she sends in, and usually the difference, it might be a difference in the number of minutes on certain modules for the correspondence and the online. We can do the exact same course name, but it's going to have some differences.
so these are neither one of those considered virtual though, right?
No, they're not virtual.
So you can go through and click it and just,
Yeah.
doesn't matter how quick you do it. Don't care. That's why we require so many virtual for CE classes.
Okay.
It's gotta be interactive. So those will take long.
Yes.
But otherwise they can do these.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Since COVID and all this hit, again, in the past, has y'all had in classroom versus now we're considering classroom and virtual one and the same intertwined? Is that right? I guess I'm just,
Actually, for CE, they've always been in, they've been in the statute from the beginning.
so basically
Nobody took
virtual,
advantage of it.
yeah, we're virtual, we're considering virtual classroom and classroom virtual, same thing as far as credit.
Similar, yes.
By definition is,
Interactive.
if it is correspondence, you have to be online with a camera to talk to, and you're in, taking roll for the whole bunch.
Right.
Now, the online, you click through it and get your, that's always been that way. As Daniel just said, that's the reason why we have that stipulation in there. Now, in answer to this, A and B, they're asking for 4 hours. I don't think either one of those are worth more than 2.
Okay, let's get to that in a minute.
Yeah, that's just what I'm saying, and it's,
Let's get this motion out of the way.
so, but
Any other discussion on approving C and D?
Well, oh, C and D, no, that's C and D.
Okay. Hearing none, all in favor of reapproving these, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now,
now, those been approved by the board. Yes.
Right.
Okay. Now, A and B, the complete roof inspection and the complete roof inspection correspondence online. I make a motion that we give them 2 hours CE on those 2 courses, 2 hours each. Yes. 2 hours each.
Okay, I have a motion.
I'll second.
I have a second by Kyle. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving these 2 courses for 2 hours each instead of what they requested for, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Those are gonna be for 2 hours, Shirley. All right, moving on.
Number 5. They submitted 11 courses, classroom. I make a motion that we approve 2 hours for A, B, C, D, E, F, and G.
I thought we didn't approve courses for business or marketing or anything like that.
That's the course outline, actually.
That's
I made that motion, we got it over for discussion.
Do I have a second?
Oh, I'll second.
I have a second, now we discuss.
Okay, no, it's.
Okay, here's the deal. We've been wondering why people are not staying in the home inspection business. And it's always been my term, owning 5 or 6 businesses and running and doing that. People are coming into this business thinking by advertisement, they can jump out here in the first month, make $10,000 to an home inspection. They have no education as far as running business, keeping books, doing what it needs, business and marketing. And the home inspection teachers and schools have not addressed this problem. We worry about test scores or somebody getting 700 something on a test. But does he know anything about putting back money to pay his taxes, running the business, being there? And that, in my opinion, has always been, we are not educating our home inspectors when they start this. Right, maybe everybody sitting here, first month, done $10,000, been going ever since. Personally, you know, that's not what I've seen in the home inspection business. And I think that's, as educators, we have fallen behind on that. And I printed this out about their outline and all. I think this is something our industry needs more of, to teach. What are you going to do when you get into the home inspection? And reading these applications, I'm still working at my job for folks. And one of them said, you know, I don't feel that I can make a living doing home inspection, so I'm not gonna quit my job until I get my business. Exactly. And that, I think, is the education that we need to be doing for our new applicants and new people coming on board. Okay, I'll get off myself.
My comment I made earlier was back in 2009, there when I was with Ari, we were doing continuing ed. We were trying to submit courses, and back then the board said, no, we don't submit anything that's not hands-on with the home inspection. Anything outside of the actual home inspection, we don't do anything with.
There's
Approving courses.
There is nothing in the statute or the rules that says we cannot.
Okay, perfect.
It
It doesn't say we
doesn't
can't. I think the board made a bad mistake in not allowing that to happen.
I agree.
I mean, this guy's teaching a class. He started off with the correct business name, because that pretty much hammered it up. Also,
That's just my twist on it.
and I tend to agree, because when I'm teaching the class, that's what I tell people, you know, it's, you gotta know how to run a business, and that's something that isn't taught, unfortunately. Even in ABC, they don't teach that. I'm just with
Well, because
everybody.
and I were both together on the board with Ari, back in 09.
Everybody's a little bit different in the way they run a business, but all businesses need to be run as a business, and not everyone knows that.
And the education of the ground basis that we need to be teaching our inspectors is, this is a business. You have to run this as a business and be a good inspector.
If you're a ballerina, you can dance, right?
That sums her up.
So, any other discussion on this? All of these 11 classes they're approving for CE courses are actually part of their pro inspectors convention they're gonna have.
A through G.
A through G, WC wants to approve for the full 2 hours each. We've already had a discussion on that. Is any more discussion regarding the A through G? All in favor of approving those for 2 hours each, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, last 4, WC.
H, I, J, and K, I have no description of what those are doing. They're asking for 2 hours. I can't approve something that I don't know what's going on.
So which one?
Make a motion, we do not approve H, I, J, and K until description is given to us and we know what it's been done.
I have a second.
I'll second that.
I have a second. Any discussion?
Just off of the titles, it all looks good except for item one, but
I,
that's all we have to go on.
Charlotte, when you,
I sent them an email.
and they have not responded.
Yeah, I didn't send anything.
when you email them back with this stuff approval, tell them we have a guy who knows that equal stuff. He probably did it for 20 or 20 grand. All expenses paid, just trying to help you out there, Dan. Maybe. All right. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor of not approving these, say aye. Any opposed? All right. Pre-registration portion.
Number 8, pre-registration colored post. They raised that 292.5 hours. What was that approved for originally?
120 hours, 120 and a half hours. I brought their last description of that one. $102.5. This is their old one, this is the new one.
So they added 190 hours.
To the pre-approval. And the way I read what I was sent from Charlotte, they're doing that virtually. This is a set and click through like we talked about.
No, it's set, click through, it's not virtual. It's
Online, I'm sorry,
Okay. Semantics.
stand corrected. They're doing that online. Now, I don't mind approving them for the 120 and a half hours that it originally was in 20-04. But I would like to have more in depth of what they're doing to add these hours.
And there was an outline,
And I read through that, but it didn't tell me what they were doing to add 170 hours. I mean, I didn't understand.
well, I know as far as even on the 102, because I know on his outline, because when I called him, he said the ones that were in that green blue color are the virtual classrooms. And I don't know if people from Arkansas would take the course, if they have to take all those online ones or not. I can ask them, but if they complete the 100 that's been approved in the past,
The 102 hours, I'm fine, or 100 and whatever, 120,
102.
102.5 hours.
102.
At 190 hours, that is strictly online.
So question for you, for example, ABC, it's 2 week programming
In person or virtual?
in person. And are you, is ABC doing virtual as well now?
That's pretty much all we're doing.
So y'all aren't meeting and y'all aren't physically meeting, you're doing virtual.
We're not physically meeting. Yes, we're doing virtual.
Out of curiosity, when did that start? Like in the last 2 years or
Yeah.
3 years ago?
Yeah, started in late 2020.
And we approved that as a board, that could happen.
As long as it is virtual, meaning the instructors.
Interact.
You have interaction, live interaction. Okay, and actually, we keep track of how many hours we can see somebody on that screen. And they're not.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I personally enjoy the meeting people in classroom, but it is what it is.
As an instructor, I hate virtual. Absolutely. I don't think the students get it. I can't, because there's a lot of talk that goes on between segments of classes that a whole lot of information gets portrayed. Okay, it's like when we have C classes and we get together in between classes or whatever, we learn a whole lot more than somebody up there telling us about it. So I don't think they do, but that's beside the point. People ask for it, so we have to provide it.
Because we couldn't meet in person.
Right.
My motion on this, pillar post, give them 102.5 hours until they come back with a better.
Yeah, the 292 hours. Is any of it virtual? It's all.
Oh.
No.
Well, there's some of it is home and is going inspection.
Right.
That
They
is home.
have so many classroom hours, and then they have another set of, I forget how many hours they actually go out for the inspectors. But that's all included in the 102.5. That's actually in person. What they did is they're wanting to add another 190 hours of not even virtual, just online stuff. But what's the reason behind that? I don't.
That's my
understand.
point. As reading all of their stuff they sent us, I do not understand why, other than they're charging more.
Okay,
for the
so
pillar and post. Due to the pandemic, classroom modules have been changed to interactive face-to-face online modules. Additional self-placed online modules have been added to assist the student development.
So your motion is to approve pillar and post pre-registration training course for the original 102.5 hours.
Yes.
All right, I have a motion.
I'll second.
I have a second. Any
Yeah,
other?
discussion wise on that, if they give us a breakdown and understanding of what they're trying to do here, I'll readdress it. The board can readdress it later, but right now I say approve the 102.5 and go. I'm sure they're not going to be happy with me. Tim Madrill,
Any
maybe.
other discussion? Rude, by the way, sorry.
And they're actually charging the exact same thing. The 200.
Well,
$2,900 or whatever is the same,
Or the 3,000 or something.
3,032.50 or.
Yeah, that's the same thing they charge.
You gotta buy that franchise.
Right.
So, they got some other stipulations.
But that's my recommendation.
All right, I have a motion, I have a second. Any other discussion? The motion is to approve the pre-registration training course for the original 102.5 hours, not the 292 they're requesting. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Moving on, item number 9, new business. ELP should be up and running by August 1st. We were shooting for July. That's been pushed back just a little bit. As far as I know, everything is getting built. Are you part of that? ELP?
Yes.
Everything's coming together? Okay. So we're waiting for them to say, send everybody information to create their profile and get started. As soon as that happens, it's going to be considered live. But we are planning on having everything up and running at least a month or two prior to the renewal window. Because we're going to have glitches, we're going to have to get there. But it's going to work out smooth. I have a good feeling about that. Any questions on that? All right, item number 2, April memorandum of understanding is due. That's the statement I got in here about rent and all this stuff.
No,
Yes.
522 is for rent, postage,
Among other stuff.
and shred.
Financial support, yeah, for all that.
Yes.
Ready? What is a match?
Why what?
As a match. Thank you for shredding.
Shared service. Which question did you say?
We asked for a breakdown that even a layperson could understand. Administration MOU. What is that $522? That was the original that they gave us, and it would fluctuate up and down, and
No, that was a fixed rate. The admin administrative MOU is a fixed rate. We have a year deal and it broke it down to monthly. That is fixed. And that was based on rent, based on square footage, utilities, that stuff. The postage, shredding, other services vary a little bit every month.
And folks don't pay for
You had to pee?
that jolt that we don't get.
Correct?
Oh, I see. I didn't even realize. No.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, it's,
Charlotte, is that right? That's the way I understood it. That's a fixed amount a month. Now,
yeah, it's supposed to pay for that jolt that we're supposed to get from Department of Labor. And of course, the rent is quarterly, and it'll be on the MOU every 3 months. Yeah.
okay,
So is the quarterly wage rate?
That is
Oh,
monthly.
Okay.
monthly. We had to break it down monthly because it was like $6,500 or something. And at first they said that was monthly. Like, no. It's not. We'll build a building.
Yep.
All right. So I'll entertain a motion.
make a motion to approve, all right?
Okay, I'll second. That's second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Charlotte, approve, make that payment, please. All right, moving on to item number 3.
Sharon?
Yes.
Yes. Is that all?
No, it's item number 12. We'll get that. All right. Item number 3, effective July 1st, into this month, rent increases for the office space. Of course, they don't know what it's going to increase to yet. I'm sure it's whatever they need to, but. Okay, nothing we can do about that. We'll wait and see what they say tell us in July. We're gonna, hopefully they will. All right, item number 10, old business. Sean Wetzel, he did complete his renewal requirements as we had requested that he did. He did send a check in, correct, Charlotte?
Yes. And then it was sent back with that letter.
It was sent back saying he didn't complete his stuff, so he sent the check back to him.
Yeah, because it was sent in the certified letter, and then he same letter and a copy of the check in regular mail. He got the regular mail, but he did not pick up the certified letter. So it came back to us, and that's when we deposited the check.
So that check has been deposited.
Yeah, so far it hasn't come back.
Okay, so that check has been deposited. He did not complete his renewal requirements. I suggested they go ahead and deposit the check anyway, because he had to pay for his license that he had not renewed since 2019. Even though he didn't get his CE courses done, we're still getting our money for that. Okay, now, I called Andy, his boss, asked him what's going on. He said Sean is not doing inspections anymore. He's doing some other work now, so he's completely gotten out of it. Did we do anything as board or not? Nope. I don't feel bad about cashing this check. Nope.
I make a motion, we send a certified letter as the board to cease and assist all home inspections until this issue is resolved with the board.
That
was that, was that.
that was in with that.
That's
So
out
our
there in the work.
legal stance, we're covered.
Yeah.
I'm looking at her, but she don't know what's going on.
I know parts of it.
Parts of it, yeah.
Joe probably in on parts of it.
Certified piece of mail did not pick up.
Was that the certified piece of mail that he did not pick up?
What, for the letter?
Yeah.
The letter was in both,
Oh, okay.
and I have a copy of the letter. that-
So he has received the letter.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's why we always recommend sending both.
Yeah.
Because then you have, even if the certified comes back, if the regular mail doesn't come back, you still have proof that he.
Right.
received
So
it.
we have proof that he received the letter.
Yeah.
So he should not be doing any. The check was deposited and it's not kicked back in. We're good.
And if y'all need to see the letter, I have the copy.
My question is,
Yes.
as a board, how did we send that letter?
What do you mean? We voted on that when he was here. When he was sitting back here, we all discussed that and we said, we're going to go ahead and do a certified letter, cease and desist order. That was Joe's recommendation. So we have that legal side covered. So we agreed to that a couple months ago, back in March.
So,
Now, this is,
The guy,
That we-
boss didn't know.
okay, so he's not doing them anymore.
Correct.
And for all that,
we have to
Yeah.
correct. All that, right?
Correct.
And we cashed the check.
So here's the deal. Kyle was in that area. If he finds out this guy has been doing it, he can file a complaint and then we can go at it again. All right? That's kind of where we're sitting. Right now, he is not licensed. All right. If you only knew. Okay. That was update on that, business. Website updates, issues, comments?
so. Question. So, what are we're doing the name change effective when for the second time? License.
I don't know when that's effective.
You're talking about the legislative changes. and
Yes,
then
yeah,
So the legislatures don't even go in until January of 23. And if they approve it, then it will not be effective until probably close to August of 2023. Because it's 90 days after sign that, it depends on if they do anything crazy. It could be anywhere from I say the end of June to the 1st of July, or to the 1st of August is usually when new legislation goes into effect, just depending on when they go out of session. So as far as the name change, you're still looking at a year down the road.
Well, and the only reason I mentioned, we recently did some semantics, some changing of the name. I think actually having a license in the name probably is a good thing. It's just, as each time we make these changes, of everything from the website, the letterheads to getting all of that. So,
okay. Regarding the website. Ms. G, this is what we would like to see. When you go to our website, you have home inspectors, you click registered home inspectors, pulls up. You should be able to search for home inspector by county Okay, we have counties listed in their applications as far as what counties they serve.
Yeah, I think INA is doing that.
Who is?
Pilot technology.
Okay, but they are doing that? Okay.
Read so. You might want to talk to Ken or.
So I'll send Ken an email.
Yes, sir.
Because what we need to happen is when they click on search here, instead of just coming up by good standing based not by numerical number or whatever, alphabetical. It randomly spits out those names. So the same person's name, it's come up every time. Somebody search for home inspector, Greg Adams comes up first every single time. So it just makes it easy for,
Greg Adams, get one.
So
and the rest of us not.
my question is,
Yes.
and again, in transfer coming over to where we're at now. ELP, which when we go live with that at the end of the year, first next year. Is that gonna tie, and I'm wondering if ELP is gonna tie in to the website, so for them to interface to see who's active, and so, I mean, I don't know how the mechanics of that's
Okay.
gonna work.
You may tell you,
Yes.
we're gonna have a link on that left-hand side of the page, renewals. Okay,
Okay,
so they can click on that renewal. It's gonna take them to the ELP website, which what they will have to log in with the profile that they've already created. Okay, and then they can renew on the ELP website. That's the only link between the two. Our website, their website, two separate things.
so when the consumer goes to see if, to find a home inspector that's licensed and current, that ELP system is, we're gonna have to update the website name separately. You know what I'm saying?
No, consumers don't know about ELP. ELP is just a licensing platform. That's it. Okay, you have to create a profile, do all your information that we're gonna set up, or we're in the process of setting up. That's strictly for licensees.
So,
Period.
And that's gonna roll
and
They're gonna, the
On a-
databases are talking to each other as far as who's in good standing and who's not. ELP is gonna say who's in good standing. It's gonna reflect back to our database, which is gonna be linked in the home inspector website page. That, you understand? Don't read too much into it. Just leave it to the IT. Okay? Yeah. All right? So far? Okay. All right.
let's see how long.
Any other questions?
I've got one thing.
Yes.
Keith Miller's still on the Zoom call. Already.
It's public.
Okay.
Meeting.
Okay, I just wanted to just make sure that he wasn't on that first.
We always have to be careful what you say.
And one thing too, which I just put a note in your folder.
And
That needs content.
I meant to get that underneath the new business and I didn't, but I see he's up there right now. Let me go ahead and address that. Hey, Nick. Nick Cardy, sorry.
Yes,
Hey, man, this is Daniel. Good to talk to you again.
yes, thank you, Daniel.
Go ahead and present your question to the board that you called me about.
Okay. So that's kind of twofold. One, I use Spectora for my reporting software, and they have partnerships that you can click on, like for moving and storage, for home warranties, home security systems, some things that aren't related to the standards of practice. And so I wanted to get clarification to see if that's something permissible because the way the partnership works is the inspector would get some type of referral, some type of compensation. And the second thing, which is related to that, is I've been approached by home security companies and a couple other companies that aren't related to the SOP about other types of marketing options. And so I just had a general question of, are we allowed to accept any type of compensation for any services that are not related to the SOP?
I had to call in.
It's answered in our rules.
So, this is the way I see it. our discussion in a way. He presents his inspection report to the client. There's links on the bottom for different services that are pertaining to the struct, to the building or whatever, but not necessarily as part of his service. So he's not,
He's receiving compensation.
he's receiving compensation for those. But he's not actively, I'm telling you, it's not actively referring these. Legal. Go ahead, Chris, you're gonna say something.
Well, I'm thinking like, if I have a favorite realtor that I like that sends me referrals on, I put that on the bottom of my report and say, hey, right, tell your friends, family members, whoever from the person in the house, reach out to this realtor, and that realtor sends me a compensation. I'm looking at that being the same.
Yeah.
Compensation is the word here. Standard of practice says we can't. And I don't.
So ADT alarms, ICU, I think is another one. They work with home inspectors, basically send you a bunch of cards, just give them a coupon. If they call and set up a deal, they send you a check for $200. Okay, I don't do it because I can't keep up with it.
Bottom line is that compensation.
Okay.
That's illegal. Standard of practice, yes.
What section?
402, number 1, A through C, it looks like. Specifically, inspectors shall not accept compensation directly or indirectly for recommending contractor services or products to inspection clients or other parties having an interest in inspected property. That's 402E1E.
So. So it's like not doing any work on the house for a year after you inspect it.
Same aspect.
Yeah. Okay.
So Nick,
Yes.
to answer your question is no. According to
Okay, I do.
according to the rules, you cannot.
Okay, that's good. I want to remain integrity, so that's good. But I do have one just clarifying question.
Sure.
I'm aware of some inspectors that also install security systems, and they also do the work for these non-related, the things that aren't in the SOP. Is it okay for me to, so I can't do an inspection and then do any work related to the SOP at that home for 1 year, but would I be permitted to do work during that first year for something that's not covered in the SOP?
According to the rules, no. And they
Okay.
should,
All right.
they shouldn't be either. The thing is, we cannot keep up with every 495 inspectors out there to see what they're doing on their side gig, so to speak. So if you know of that, actually, you're kind of obligated to report it, to file a complaint, and let our investigator follow up on it.
And I'm a licensed or certified residential appraiser. When I got my home inspector's license in 03 to whatever it was, 5, the board told me I could not do an appraisal on a house that I'd done a home inspection on for 12 months. And my attorney, everybody, we all cut it down. It says in there, if you accept a home inspector license, you have to operate by the board's rules and regulations. I couldn't do an appraisal on something that I've done a home inspection on.
Right.
I never did. I had a partner that was an appraiser, and he'd appraise them, and I'd inspect them.
What were you gonna say?
No, so when you're from the back, now, if you did the appraisal first, then you.
I can do the appraisal first because the appraisal board said you'll do a better appraisal if you do an inspection on a apartment from the property. You know more about it. But
So the gist of it, Nick, is no, you cannot.
Okay, thank you.
Whether it pertains to SOP or not. Now, with that being said, and you know of inspectors that are doing it, you're pretty much obligated to report it, file a complaint, and then let us follow up behind that.
Okay. Would it be possible, I don't know how much work this would be, but similar to how there's a statement from the board regarding joining groups like BNI and such, would it be possible to get a statement out specifically mentioning the Spectora trusted partners and some of these things? That would be a lot easier to reference other home inspectors too.
That when they get their license, that, little thing about joining the groups.
Right, that's a letter in there, but there's nothing in there that states anything about doing this, even though it isn't. Here's the thing, Nick, it is in the standards. And whenever somebody does their application, they check that little block saying they read the standards. So everyone is supposed to know that. But I understand what you're saying. If we could send something, we'll put a statement up somewhere.
I wouldn't specify Spectora in general, because
Right.
there's other softwares out there. I would just say
Yeah.
inspection report.
Just no compensation. Period.
Whether you're doing a roof, you're doing an alarm system, or you're putting in a kitty door.
Doing landscape. I mean,
Doing
really.
in landscape, it doesn't matter. It states in your standard of practice, you won't do this.
Not only is in your standard of practice, it's actually in your statute.
Yeah.
It's in our statutes and standard of practice. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate the clarification.
All right. Thanks, Nick. Okay, give me a call. You got anything else, bud?
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
I think word that, I don't know. Or do you want it sent like in a mass email or?
That would be.
Do we need to send something out?
I think so.
Or I could add something to the, well, everybody would know at the same time, but I have to send those in letters out everyone. I can add something to that.
Well, I've got that form that I can tweak again if you wanted to use it. It'd be an opportunity to whatever, like to send out a quarterly bulletin or update. And
Get that letter to Kyle, put something up, type something out, write something up that makes sense to the layman inspector.
But I think we just need, instead of creating a new statement, I think it needs to include the BNI, the existing verbiage, tack on to that and
Well, here's the thing, guys, we can't add something to the front page or to the cover letter every time something comes up, because it's gonna be 3 pages long before they get, and people aren't gonna read them. They don't read them now. I mean,
Evidently, they're not reading the standards.
exactly. So,
Until someone gets prosecuted. Until they learn, oh, we get in trouble for that.
put together verbiage for that, send it to Charlotte. Charlotte will send it to me. And if everyone's good with that, we'll send it out there.
You have my email?
Sorry?
You have my email?
Yeah, he does. You have that realize.
I have no idea what you're.
Okay, speaking of emails, when you get the information, the applications and so forth throughout, we're getting ready for meetings. When Charlotte says reply to her only, reply to her only. Here's the thing. Anytime 2 of us or more speak outside of a public hearing, we're in violation. So that is the same. Don't do it. Simply reply to Charlotte only. That's why I said send it to Charlotte. Okay? Yes, you were guilty.
Well, I didn't do it on purpose.
You never did it on purpose. I want to address that. All right. Moving on to governor's approval of proposed rules. The 30-day public comment phase obviously is complete as of June 1st. What's the next step in that, or do I need to hold off for Joe?
No, I know a little bit more about rules.
Good.
And as a matter of fact, when Julie was your attorney, I helped with some.
Good.
That too. So the next step is if the 30-day comment period is closed, then I believe Denise is actually helping get your rules pushed through. Then it'll be requested to be on the legislative subcommittee, rules subcommittee. be on their agenda. She'll have to turn that in. It's the 8th. Right?
Yes.
Just turn it in before the 15th to be on the July calendar. So likelihood it'll be on the their July calendar for approval. Once they approve it, then it's effective 10 days after they approve them.
So we should know something about this at the latest by August.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. All right. Item number 11, administrator's update.
With the report, that's always on here. And the insurance expiration letters for June will go out on May 16th. Filings are getting ready to go out next week, I think that's on the 15th. And I put a list of these reports that, because for the rest of this month, I'm going to be working on reports, especially the first 3, because they're due by the end of this month. And after the end of this month, the state agency closing books, and that's that huge report that's due in second. That'll be due, I think it's like 3 different dates from July into August. But I'll be working on those in addition to what I can get done in August. That's all I have.
All right, item number 12, registration renewals. We have 3 renewals for this meeting. Sid Hairlane, Barrett Moon, Bart Tucker. I thought Barrett and Bart were calling in. It's neither one of them did. They were calling in regarding their statement of, say it, abstinence, whatever, saying they hadn't performed any inspections from January 1st. The license actually expired January 1st. Their renewals are just not coming through. They don't want to sign that because basically they're perjure themselves because they have performed inspections. They have performed inspections unknowingly, knowing they were not in good standing that the license had not renewed. Now, with that being said, there's no excuse. But 2, ELP hopefully is going to fix this gap later on because they're going to get email notices immediately. Okay. So
I make a motion as a board, as W.C. McBride. Anyone that is not renewed after the expiration of their license, that keep on doing inspections, be sent a letter of cease and assist by the board to come to us and with all material to renew their license or stop doing home inspections. As our board oversees that, we have made too many exemptions. It's over with. It's time to play. We're protecting the public. We have unlicensed home inspectors doing reports, and that is against our rules, regulations, and everything that we were set up to do.
lapsed license, not unlicensed, lapsed.
They're unlicensed if they're lapsed. They are not licensed inspectors. Is that true?
True.
Legal?
True, I was gonna look and see exactly how your renewal language was.
The letter of absence, though, that is a sticking point.
Letter of abstinence says that you did not renew your license and you've done no work. If you've done work, we need to know the work you've done, so if it comes up.
So,
That's the reason.
okay, so these guys continue to do inspections.
Knowing they were unlicensed.
Well, whether they are or not, we don't know. But they legally, we can't make them give us a letter of abstinence because if they done inspections, we can't have them sign that saying they didn't do it. They're perjuring themselves.
Then why don't they give us a list of what they done?
We haven't asked for it.
You do one of the two.
What are we gonna do with that list?
Sanction them for every time they did a home inspection, so what? So you could always sanction them for every
Right.
inspection they did.
Yes, they're gonna be.
I mean, it'd be a disciplinary action, so you'd either need to do it via consent agreement or a hearing, but, I mean, there, you have that option. I mean, if you want to have a,
As a legal,
Have a hammer.
is the board need to be informed of any work that is done?
I think you could, I mean, I think that would be your best understanding if they, I mean, if they're willing to admit that they've done inspections because they don't want to sign that form because they've done inspection. Then,
Give us
I
a
think-
list of all the inspections you've done.
yeah, I don't see where you couldn't ask for that.
I didn't ask for $25 an inspection or $100 or whatever. Give me a list of all the inspections you've done. Go ahead, and that's.
Two questions. How do they not know that their license has lapsed?
We asked that question.
Well, renewal letter. Well, and we asked that question 2 months ago with the guy right there, but it's like.
But his is like 2 years.
Yeah, his was 2 years, which is like, that's
So
ridiculous.
it's hard to say, yeah. These other guys, both, 2 of these have called me, Barrett and Bart both. called me. Bart actually thought he sent the stuff in when he got here. And both of them coincidentally went to the same RE, or continuing education, same time.
Yeah.
And they thought they sent everything in at that point. I mean, it goes back.
So sometimes like that, so you're saying the continuing education didn't come in?
No. Nothing.
Nothing came in.
They didn't send that in. Because I told them, I said, if you think you sent that in, send me a copy of the cancer check. Well, it had clear. I said, send me a copy of your register. I want you to check before it, when you wrote it, and then check after. And they couldn't do it. They came back and said, well, maybe we didn't do it. Well, then, yeah, that's why they're paying all the late fees as well.
But it's $250 late fee, from what I see.
Yeah.
And is there any, it sounds like there hadn't been precedents as far as like this happening before we.
It's happened before.
Well, it happens before, but there's no precedent.
There's never been a disciplinary action precedent. No.
Time to start.
And the other side of this, our chairman just alluded to it. They took continuing ed in February, their license expired in December 31st. And
Now-
they didn't have the hours to
Okay.
continuing ed to do.
When your license is not renewed, I mean, you didn't get your card, that's a first clue.
Yeah.
You didn't get a letter saying your license is renewed, like we all
I think
had.
my card's legal.
Well, I know. There's nothing else out there saying that it's not, that it was not renewed. That's the problem.
But you should
I
worry.
agree.
No, I'm trying to just
No.
play a little bit of devil's
Yeah,
advocate here, but as,
I've said it in the past, we are adults, we're business owners, we're licensed home inspectors. It's your responsibility to keep up with standards and practices and rules and all this stuff, and your license.
Yeah.
All that comes into play. So there is no excuse. I agree.
I mean, because some of my boards don't even send out renewal. I mean, they don't send out the advanced renewal notices. I mean, like, even for my license, for my law license, yes, we get a renewal notice that says, here, fill this out, and we'll, we gotta fill out the form, but they send it to us in the mail. At some point, you gotta put it back on people, I mean, honestly. But I mean, if you don't want to do disciplinary action, that's entirely up to you guys. But you have that, there is that option, that they are violating the statute by performing these home inspections with, call it a lapsed license, call it unlicensed,
Right.
either which way you're talking. the same.
But without a letter of abstinence, can we still do renewal?
I assume you require, you have to forgive me, I don't know.
No, that's fine,
all of
that's
that stuff in detail.
You mentioned punishment or whatever.
Yeah.
The minimum is the $250 late fee. That's the minimum.
That's now.
Yeah,
You
and
can
that's,
go above that, but
Yeah, and that's right now.
yeah, that's just for,
Right.
that's just strictly for
Mhm.
having a late,
right,
that doesn't cover their actions
Right.
of what they were doing while they.
right.
We have authorization up to $1,000, basically per incident or whatever. But that's,
I mean,
but my question was, Do we have to have a letter of absence? And does it need to be signed with the dates going back to the first of the year? Because we can't force them to sign something knowing that they're purchasing themselves.
As far as that abstinence letter, it was first worded for people that their insurance had lapsed. And they had to fill out that form, get it notarized, and send it in with a copy of their current insurance. And when Robert was chairman, he's the one that started it as far as if somebody's license had lapsed, that they needed to fill out that form. And from the day that they were no longer in good standing to whatever the date that they get it notarized or the board meeting, whatever. And so it's been reworded a little bit to not just be for insurance, but
did they change the SOP? When they?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know that it's specifically called out.
Yes.
that's what I was about to say. I'm not, at first glance going through this, so this may need to be a question for Joe to let him kind of dig a little bit more into it. But just kind of skimming through your rules, I'm not seeing where you actually even say that they have to turn that in with renewals. So I mean,
Joe and I have talked about it. He has looked for it. He's still working on it. We're gonna reword some stuff, but yeah, that's the thing. He said, I can't find it in here anyway.
yeah, I mean, if it's not in there, then no, arguably in trying to enforce having that turned in. But at the same time, if you requested it and they don't want to turn it in, then you know something's going on. So that may be that time where you do want to consider, do you want to take any kind of action for what they've done?
Go ahead.
And that's what I was thinking, is that, because we're telling the new applicants, hey, do not do an inspection until you get your car. We sent out a renewal letter for renewing your license. You know it expires on December 31st. So that's at least twice you already know that you're not supposed to be doing an inspection. So I feel like, yeah, there should be a penalty for it. You're aware. Yeah, and as far as not signing that, like I said, for me, that's showing, yes, you're guilty of they're already doing inspections without a license, but you don't want to sign that. So I feel like there should be a penalty.
And they did their continuing education for 2021 in February 2022. So any continuing education in 2021 will renew the license.
For 2020.
Yeah, because see what's for next year's renewal, so they did it this February.
now that
February's for last legal.
the RE certificate, because I know one of them sent in is 2021 and 2022.
Okay.
But the one that they did for 2021, that's the one that everybody had to send in to renew for 2022.
Right.
And then when they took the course in February for 2022, that's the certificate I'm going to get. Well, ELB is going to get to renew for 2023.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so they'd already done it for
One person, one of them had.
well,
Both of those
Both of
come
them,
in with
because I had
22 on it.
The copies, Ari has sent me the
So
copies.
they both did their continuing education for 2021 and 2020.
Unless I read it.
In that calendar year, in the calendar year 2020.
all right, let's look at the first one. Let's get on number one. Sid Harriman.
I want to ask one question before we go into these. In our standards of practice, does it state that we have to be currently licensed inspector to do home inspection on the state of Arkansas?
That would be,
Say that again.
that it has to say current, that your license has to be current to be legally practicing in the state of Arkansas. Exactly how it's worded.
Does it have to be current?
Yeah.
That's my question.
Yeah, if your license isn't
So that's-
current, then it's kind of an implied, you have to be registered.
Currently registered, you have.
Yeah, you have to be registered. So,
Therefore, you do, how is that going?
yes, you have to, yeah, you wouldn't, there's not any, as far as in the statute, there's not any language that actually says current because it's implied they.
Can I read this? It is unlawful for any person not licensed, registered under this subchapter to perform any act which is for which registration or licensure is required.
Yeah.
Period. Any person acting as a home inspector within the meaning of this subchapter without a home inspector certificate of registration or license, and any person who violates any such provision of this subchapter shall be guilty of a misdemeanor. So it is illegal.
Yes,
Period.
because you can't have if your registration expires on
December 31st.
December 31st, then you don't have a license as of January 1st if you haven't renewed.
And that's the argument of the chairman. You still have a license, it's just not current.
Lapsed. So it's still not licensed.
So, yeah,
Yeah, still not licensed.
you don't,
So that's back to my original. The license is not an active current license, just not renewed. You lost your license December 31st when you didn't renew.
Right.
yeah. Some of my boards actually spell it out a little bit more in detail in their rules. They give people kind of they expect those, most of my boards have where you have to sign an affidavit of non-practice. If you've let your license lapse at all. Some of them have it where for the first year, you're just having to pay fines to say, and then after 1 year, it's completely gone. You have to start over as a completely new applicant. I don't know that you guys have that spelled out in your rules, and again, because I don't have this working knowledge of y'all's rules and some of my others, but you could always put something in there if you wanted to, like that says, okay, here's your 30-day grace period. After that, or whatever the time frame you want to say, okay, you have to completely start over. I mean, that's kind of where the lapse part kind of comes in for a lot of the boards when they use that language instead of just saying you don't have a license, they use the lapse language. Because instead of making someone have to completely start over. I do have boards though, that after a year, if you've not renewed within that time, that year frame, and that's with having to maintain your continuing education for what you should have renewed plus what you would renew the next time. If you don't have it done within that year, you completely start over. You start back to square one as though you don't have a license at all. You have to have a new application, submit all the required documents at that time. It can't be whatever that was when you were originally licensed. So say you got exempt from the background check stuff back because you were grandfathered in. Well, now if you have to have a new application, then we can even look at the background stuff that maybe was kind of ignored, for lack of a better word, previously. So you're kind of just, it depends on how the board wants to treat it in a way. Like I said, a lot of my boards have it just spelled out specifically in their rules, what happens.
It's on.
On renewal for our rules and regulations, for renewal, what does it state? We have a fine in there for 30 days and 60 days.
Yeah, you have your delinquent renewal application fee.
They realized they weren't, that they didn't have an active license. And why didn't they stop doing inspections at that point?
In May 24th,
5 months into
May 17th. And the only reason they found out is, or what they told me was, they went to our website had changed, so they went to the website just to see if their name is in there. And it didn't show them on the, didn't say any list. That's on the list. So then they. But You know, like I said, this is, EOP, I think, is gonna fix this gap we have.
Yeah.
Barrett Moon and Bart Tucker both, their CE courses are actually from 2021.
Okay, so under y'all's definitions, under registration status, you term lapsed for any home inspector who fails to renew their registration on or prior to its expiration date. So it is technically a lapsed license.
How long they have the term for lapse?
I'm looking to see. So you guys have a, according to this, you have a delinquent renewal application. Oh, yeah, we know the fee. The board attestation of abstinence form upon where the individual swears that he or she has not conducted home inspection from the date their registration is no longer in good standing until the date of, yeah, they do have to submit it by your rule, it's in there. It's under 309 registration reactivation procedures, number 4.
Read that to me again.
The board attestation of abstinence form whereupon the individual swears that he or she has not conducted home inspections from the date their registration was no longer in good standing until the date of receipt of the application for renewal. It's one of the requirements for registration reactivation procedures. And that's for all home inspectors whose registration is not in good standing status and who desire to reactivate their home inspection registration to good standing. And it's, they have to submit all of these. There are 6 different items that are required to submit. And the burden of the proof regarding all of that is on the applicant.
So are they licensed right now, or are they still not licensed? Are
They're
they-
in lapse status, technically.
Are they still doing inspections?
What should they have?
Yeah, between May, since they,
Since they realized.
well, I mean, I know.
Well, I know when Bart called me, he said he's had his secretary, or whatever, reschedule all his, so that he wasn't.
Reschedule them for they do a license.
Well, no, he just canceled them. or
Oh,
whatever,
canceled.
so he cleared his schedule. for it. So, as far as I know, they weren't. But I don't know about Bart, or Barry.
I can't remember which one it was, but one of them just happened once before, the same thing.
Barry.
Repeat. Repeat after.
Second time around, the wife forgot to sign the check, this and that, and it came up in June.
Okay. So, legal question. If they don't have the certificate of abstinence, what would we do there? Because they don't want to sign it because they have done it.
I don't know what that form looks like, so I don't know exactly if there's if they could. I would argue then if they don't want to sign it as stated, then they're gonna have to sign something that says we did, that they did do.
One of them sent one in, didn't put dates on, the other one didn't send one in. But they both had said they were going to call in about it, but.
Yeah, neither one of them called him, it's kind of, anyway.
Oops. So it's- But. The both of them have inspections committees.
Up until May.
Well, up until May, but even after. After they were. They realized.
So Bart did one. He left the dates blank. Stated in here, once he was aware he did not have active license, that's the dates. So that's when he signed. So he hasn't done anything from then to now.
Chairman, the date of awareness is December 31st, 2020. It doesn't matter anything else.
That is the nice thing about Arkansas, is it is December 31st, end of the year, everyone knows it.
Yeah, forever.
And
In
for the
other
good
states,
old boy
it's all over the
system,
place.
if we're gonna throw this underneath the rug, I'm out of here. Other than, it is what it is, I'm sorry for it, but as a board, we either stand up or we don't.
I'm gonna tell you from some of my other boards that have online renewal systems already in place, it doesn't necessarily fix this. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that right now,
Well,
because it's human nature.
Right, it's up to the individual, individual responsibility.
Honestly, I mean, I kind of think he did. He submitted the form, he just changed and said it. I don't know that I.
Black,
Yeah, I mean, kind of,
it's right or wrong.
yeah, I mean, I would. Yeah, I think he did right by trying to submit it and say. So even this doesn't actually say that he was continuing to practice, it just says that he attests that he hasn't conducted them once he became aware. So,
If neither one of them called in, do either one of them still want to have a license?
That's not up to them to decide, folks, it's up to this board.
Well, if they decided to move on and do something else, then.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I mean, y'all are having some great discussion, I might actually take, just because I don't want to give you advice that might sound slightly different from Joe's, and Joe is the one who's gonna be doing it moving forward. I might suggest even tabling this until next month, give Joe a chance to look and see if what would be the workaround for someone like this, as far as submitting the attestation. I mean, it's clear in your rules, it is there, I mean, that they're supposed to submit it. Now, what they say on it, I mean, arguably, I think they could probably come back and say, okay, here I'm falling on my sword, I just blew it. I think you could do that, and then it would be up to the board to say, okay, well, we'll renew you, you paid your late fee, however, here's the consequences for all of the time that you submitted, or that you did practicing without having a good speaking license.
Can we request as a board a list of the inspections done?
I don't see why you couldn't. I don't see.
And
any-
upon a receipt of that list, then we could address.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I think I would do that for, if were all three of them the same situation or just the two?
All three of them are renewing in June.
Somewhere in the standards, it says we're supposed to keep that list of every single inspection we did for last year, so the board can review it. 1 year. Yeah, for last year.
And we're talking 5 months or 6.
Right.
One question on this also, and these are licensed inspectors, non-licensed inspectors. How do we find them? I know we sent out a letter, speech to them, says, what if they continue on?
Unless somebody files a complaint, we have no way of knowing.
Now, it does also in here, and I don't know how, if you guys have it or not, but it does say under number 5 that you're supposed, an individual such as Bart should have complete and exact printed copies of the last 3 home inspection reports, which were delivered to client while in good standing. So you do have to, I mean, he's supposed to do that as well too, as part of this reactivation process, is 3 that were in good standing. So I don't see why you couldn't extend that and say, show us, at least give us the list of what you did while you weren't in good standing.
But the 3 that have to be submitted would have been December of last year.
But I don't know how often you guys hold people speak to the fires on this part.
Board never had.
Which is why, for one of them, it's at least a second time they've done.
So, I mean, it might be time. I mean, I don't know if we're just kind of becoming, if it's because we're moving into this digital age, that things might need to be changing for the board. That may be what you might want to consider.
Okay, let's get on our renewal one for Sid. everyone got a copy of his stuff. He did not require any CE hours because of when he was licensed last year, I think. So no CE hours there, it's not required. He did send in his late fee. No certificate of abstinence. Talking about now, so I will entertain a motion on this.
Make a motion, we deny the renewal until we get a letter of abstinence and/or a list of inspections done after lapse of license.
And then what?
Board review, and we'll go with it. In the meantime, you're not licensed home inspector.
Yeah, not licensed, don't do them. Cease and desist.
Cease and desist.
So at the very minimum, he will not be able to do inspections with you until July 6th.
That's it.
And then what are you gonna have after that to get it started?
It's renewal.
No, because,
Card and all that.
no, because
No?
their numbers the same.
Right.
We tell the new guys that because they don't know what the number is yet.
Okay. Okay,
Now, we are supposed to have our card.
right.
If we want to get technical about it, none of us should be inspected off.
Right. I might check your.
I just speed it up a week.
So do you want to modify your motion to read, because you have to give it a second yet to state administratively approved upon receipt of either letter of abstinence or a list of all inspections completed since.
Joe told us we cannot do this administratively. And that's why we stopped doing it 2 times before. Joe said, by legality, we cannot do administratively, we have to meet to do that. So is that how Joe works?
That would sound correct to me. I'm not-
Yeah.
I don't want to say what.
I didn't stay in Holiday Inn last night, but he told us that
Yeah.
you cannot do that.
And I mean, honestly, I would recommend, especially in this situation, since you're talking about these affidavits, not, part of it not receiving your, I'm gonna call it an affidavit because it's just easier that way for me, but to not get that affidavit, that I think the board would want to kind of have the discussion. I don't know that you would want Charlotte just saying, okay, well, here, we received it. Well, then what was the point of getting it in the first place if you're not gonna look and try to decide whether or not you want us to have some kind of disciplinary action or not?
So the earliest is gonna be in July.
Okay. So I have a motion on the table to deny Sid Caroline's renewal until he provides either a letter of abstinence or a list of all inspections.
Does he have all the other stuff in place? Okay, yeah, I'll second.
Any other discussion on him?
Yeah, if he provides the reports, then he's saying he did inspection. So that's showing the ability. Conducting inspection without a license. What's the disciplinary action?
We'll have to address that.
We haven't got to that point yet. We can, and as a board, we can use our discretion and disciplining, finding or whatever. According to the standards or rules, up to $2,000 per instance. So we may want to look at that. And talk about that.
And that's,
That in combination of him not being able to do any inspections for 2 months.
I guarantee if he has to write a big check, he won't be doing it again, will he?
You would think if he can't do any work right now, he would be calling in for one or being up here pleading his case. trying to get a lot
He's
done.
just gonna keep trucking and not saying anything.
All right, any other discussion on Sid? All in favor, be now. Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that application is denied. Moving on to number 2, Barrett Moon. Same situation, renewal He did not provide a letter of abstinence. Yes, Bart Tucker, I'm sorry. Barrett did not provide a letter of abstinence. But he did provide his late fees, CEs, everything else.
I make a motion, we deny this application. Same as the one before.
I'll second.
Okay. Have a motion on the floor and seconded, denying his application renewal until either a letter of abstinence or a list of inspections done while he was unlicensed. Right. Any other discussion? All in favor of denial, say aye. Any opposed? Moving on to Bart Tucker. He actually provided a letter of abstinence here. He did change the wording on it. Once he was aware he did not have an active status license. He had not performed any since. That was May 17th. They are in motion.
Is everything else there that we need?
Perhaps.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we get a list of the inspections he done prior to May 17th.
Well, we got the letter there.
Okay, motion on the floor. What's your motion?
I make a
Approve or
motion.
deny?
To deny this application until we get a list of the inspections done prior to the absence letter, May 17th. It states on it, there's a date on there, right? You just read it back.
I did. For clarification, the other two, you said either letter of abstinence or the list. This one, you have a letter of abstinence, but you also want list.
It's not stated from January 1st of the year. His license lapsed
So
January 1st.
your motion reads, you're going to deny it until we get a list of all of the inspections performed from January 1st to May 16th.
The letter of absence said he didn't do it, which is perfect.
Right. Okay. Second.
Yeah.
Now discussion. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Charlotte? These guys are gonna call. You wrote that down the way I worded it. I think they either need to provide a letter of abstinence saying they did not do
Or a
the
list
inspections,
of the home
or a
inspections
list
from
of home
January.
inspections from January 1st to current date.
And then accepted
And
Bart
then,
would be from January 1st to May 7th.
right, unless he did any after May 17th, hopefully he didn't, but, and then their applications will be resubmitted for the next board meeting.
Well,
All right.
I was just saying that on a thought on this, on some of these going forward, this monetary fines may not be required if in these situations where we're asking them and they get that letter that says they've been denied until certain, they're not supposed to be conducting business basically for a whole month. That should be a wake up call. It's gonna hit their pocketbook. So I don't know, I would try to do additional anyway. That's just a thought.
And that's something to think about between now and the next board meeting. Do we want to monetarily stab them or just say, look,
Or just let them, that come not work.
with not doing work for this time,
It's
going to be in their pocketbook.
Is there a list on the front page of the website of inspectors that are not allowed to be doing inspections? They used to be.
The only one listed there, if I'm not mistaken, is
The engineer, John.
we're gonna deal with that again next month.
I sat through that hearing with Bill the first time.
Are you coming back next month? So we're gonna do it again.
I don't know.
All right.
Briefly,
What
what
was
was
I good? What about you?
briefly, what was that about? There's two guys the same name?
No.
Nope.
No,
And I got an engineering report on them about a week and a half ago from some of over Hot Springs.
The only ones listed have a suspended status due to lack of certificate of insurance. They're on there. Think about it, all these guys didn't have a lapse insurance.
Right,
They're not on that list.
but should we have a,
And that list is not up there.
should we have a place on the website for realtors to go to?
Here's the thing, once this ELP gets up and running, my vision is, and I'm gonna talk to Ken about it, is whenever somebody's license is
Labs?
lapsed, which
January 1st.
everybody should be the same.
They get an automatic cease and desist or.
If there's not a renewal process done, then their name automatically gets kicked up to the front of this website.
On the front page.
On front.
Right, so the realtors are-
Everybody can see it.
everybody can see it.
Because they're going to this website looking for a home inspector.
Right.
If we don't do our job and get all this paperwork done by December 31st, January 1, if you don't have a renewal process completed by the board, your name should be up there.
It's gonna autofill that list. That's my vision. That's what I'm working
And
towards.
our attorney just brought up that even through all this, it's not going to take care of the problem.
Okay.
But it's gonna bring the problem to the forefront. As a board, we are doing our job. That's my point.
Right.
Okay.
Quickly back to Barrett, when was he notified that he couldn't do inspection?
Barrett Moon was. He signed his application May 17th. May 17th is when you wrote his check.
And he wasn't supposed to perform inspections after that.
He wasn't supposed to perform inspections after January first.
Yes.
After January first, yeah, obviously, but he knew about it.
Right.
Yes.
He stopped.
So when we get this list from these two
How many did you do?
after May 17th, how many did it?
Maybe there was.
What's that?
He did one for me last Friday.
I rest my case, fellas.
Barrett?
Wait, no, Barrett's wasn't the one, he didn't submit,
No, he didn't send it.
Barrett didn't send it. Or,
But it doesn't matter.
well, that's
No,
true, yeah.
Right, he knew because he's got his application in dated May
May
17th,
17th.
and it has not been renewed yet, and he did a lot.
Okay, I'm with you. Sorry, got him confused, my bad.
Next month's gonna be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna try to get it pretty quick, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
You're not gonna get through quick with Justin.
You're right about that.
Can somebody tell me about the Justin Holiday?
Actually, we can't.
We can't,
You have to
No.
wait.
because we don't
Yeah,
want
wait.
to buy it.
You have to wait.
The reason you have to wait, and the only reason that they, I mean, it's because but the idea of waiting is so that there's no bias, so that you don't go trying to investigate it on your own and that sort of stuff prior to the hearing date, because the way that the statute regarding hearings is that it's based off of what is presented that day, that is part of the record. So that's why.
Just briefly though.
No, you can't.
Well, okay,
Period.
what
I'm
is-
not asking, I'm just asking about the previous day.
He had there was this is okay.
He used to be a licensed home inspector,
Okay.
and then he got a license as an engineer. So he did renew his home inspector license because his assumption is that he's holier than we are, and his education for an engineer is a whole lot more adequate than this, so it trumps home inspector license. That's why he looked at it, and he did home inspections. He got caught. Can't do home inspections. He got letters. He done it again.
Then we finally had a hearing
Finally,
in front of this board. He
Yeah.
had one, there's something different going on with the engineering board, but he finally had one in front of this board.
that was a few months back.
That was,
A different one. I've
uh,
only been part of one, and that was last year.
that was, yeah, and
Yeah.
that's the one he appealed to circuit court. circuit court is now sending it back down to you guys.
Last question, is there two people with the same name?
Yes, there
Yes.
is, all right.
And that was part, and at one point
and-
that wasn't it, he was upset about that too, because up on the y'all's website, I think at one point it said
It still says that. We refuse to take
that he is, okay,
that.
but he's not a home inspector, because it was getting confused.
And the other one is not a home inspector anymore either. He never renewed his license. He was.
Okay.
So yes, there was two.
But yes, but his name is still up there saying he's not a licensed.
I wasn't sure, I didn't want to speak out of turn, I just remember sitting through that hearing, and that was part of it too.
I remember something.
Okay.
Oh, nine, isn't that true?
Yeah.
Yes, it's been on forever.
Yeah, it's been a long,
This has been a long drawn out deal. Before we talk about next meeting, well, we kind of are, but next month's meeting. So there was a complaint or two regarding getting paperwork applications like the day before.
Yes.
Okay. That's not really on Charlotte. What's happening is another department is getting the mail, checks, so forth, and they're usually hanging on to them for a couple of days before it gets to her. So by statute, the person requiring a license, requesting a license, has to have it 1 week prior to our meeting. When they usually come in before then, but she's not getting them until a day, 3 days before our meeting. So that's why it's
Hearing.
executive. It's just
But it's addressed to our board, right?
I'll say it, it's a poor management style that's going on, and it's causing issues to us for us to look at, yes. And I said that in a public meeting, I'll say it in front of the conference. Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause I got them late the night before.
Right
I had
now-
inspections, I had no time to.
Are they trying to audit checks or what?
right now, they are. And everything else, and we've had insurance forms, renewals that have come in, and they're getting them and say they're over the junk mail file. And they're not. And yes, it pisses me off. And yes, I want to go in front of the governor and talk about it, and I probably end up will. So right now, something we can do. I thought that, and I hate that they left, because I wanted to address it, but they weren't important enough for me to address in front of everything else I need to get done. So, anyway.
And this morning, which I kind of briefly told you about, when she came in my office and she brought the agenda. And she was saying it looks bad for our board because of the financial and the minutes that I still list on there as being incomplete. And she was asking why was ours incomplete when she sent that thing that she prints out. And I said, I forward that to the board members when I get it from you. But the report that I do is more detailed as far as where the money was spent. And I went back through the same story I've told Tyler and tried to tell others and everything about how our appropriation was changing when Karen was here. And that's when I had stopped doing them because I couldn't figure them out. And I told her how Chris had been the one that helped me to understand that. But I just haven't had the time. And then she wanted me to contact her when this meeting was over, so she could come over and help with financial. And I told her, I'm not going to have time. And then she said, well, what about tomorrow? I said, no, I said, really for the next week and a half, 2 weeks, I'm going to be dealing with license cards. And I said, you see all that list of schools? I said, I've got to process those as far as for with invoices. And the thing is, they don't want to understand what this board has done in the past or how they do it. And, you know, I told her as far as the agenda, it's an outline. It gives some order to the meeting. And I send those out to anybody that requests them. But she was saying it looks bad. And she wants me to take it off, actually, is what she has to take it off.
What, the list that we're in?
The financials and the minutes, stuff that's not.
And that has nothing to do, it's an outline to, you know, to show the order of the meeting, and even when I send it to other people, it's just like with Nick or whoever, you know, they can see as far as the order of the meeting. But that's not what's published on anything. And nobody gets, because we don't get agendas when we have that weekly meeting with the department, like, we don't get an agenda, it's just really, you go in there, we don't know what's going to be said or anything.
So we don't unfortunately have any control over that. Charlotte does her best to get it to us at least a couple of days beforehand. That always happens, obviously. Complain to your representative and your senator. Y'all hear me say that every single meeting, and I mean it, because nothing's happening. They don't want to listen.
I'm gonna start denying it, don't send in time. We're supposed to have a week before, then we'll deny the license.
Do you have a receipt stamp in your office?
Yeah, now when I,
When you
Yes, no.
receive something out of the mail into your office, you stamp a receipt.
yeah, when I get it from her, it's stamped with their stamp, and then I stamp it with the date that I get it, so it's going to be 2 different dates on it.
But why is it going to her?
Because that's what the Secretary of Labor has said it's gonna happen, or his chief of staff has said she is not to get the mail. It has to go to this other department first.
That just, the resolution works.
You're right, but they don't care about that. That's why I say it's gotta come from above, because we're not getting anywhere with this.
I got the majority of the new applicants
There's your
last
staff.
Friday, and it was almost 4:30. And so
And that's what she gets.
that's why I was working trying to get background checks and
Exactly.
process everything.
Are they
And-
processing the checks? Or you process? You
No.
get it after they look at it.
When she brings it to me, she's opened everything and she has a paper clip with the check and whatever was in there and the envelope. And I've still got to do what I normally used to do when I pick up the mail. I've got to process that check for deposit and do background checks. And if, just like with the insurance certificates, if there's something missing, I'm calling
And
it.
she works directly for Mr. Kane for Tom.
Yeah.
Y'all
And I think
call
she's
Tom
working
Kane
with
back in
Steve
here?
too.
Question on that.
Yeah, see,
I'll
I
call him.
Yeah, go get it. We do the renewals on, we're gonna wind up doing the renewals online.
Yes.
And we do the new applications online.
Oh, we're going to.
I was saying about that bypass is that when they send their application, everything that bypass.
It's all done electronically.
We gotta
It's
get
a
to
matter
that,
of until we
we
get
gotta
everything
get that.
working. I mean,
Right,
it's still-
right, until then.
we gotta get to that point.
Is he still here?
We are still gonna have, we're still gonna have some people mailing stuff in. There's no two ways about that.
Right. Is this just happening with our board or?
Have you heard from other boards?
I have not, but
The other boards that I am associated with are no, it's not, but they're years ahead of us. When we tried in 18 to go with IT and all that, we were told we couldn't because this was coming and this was coming. Here it is 22 and we're still not where we should have been. Those boards were back in 14, 15, got ahead.
to answer your question, Ed, no.
When I got the mail from her Friday late, and after she left my office and I was going through everything, there was 2 packets in there that belonged to another board. And I took them to her office and, you know, she just go, well, how did that get in there? And I'm wondering if that's happening with me getting somebody else, and somebody else might be getting ours too. And that would be another delay, because they may or may not turn it back in right away. But, you know, that's not on them, that's on the Department of Labor, because this is their new thing.
Talk about St. Lisa's, you know about this today?
Who?
Lisa,
I have not.
I'm not sure if they're in session or if he's back up for one.
All right. take a 5-minute break. Our Dennison's brothers.
Beautiful.
I'm gonna go see. Okay. All right, Mr. Kane, thanks for coming back. It's fine. So we, a couple of our board members had a complaint about us not getting our applications and new stuff in adequate time period for us to renew it like we got it yesterday. Okay. So that came back to the applications and stuff that comes in the mail. Our administrator doesn't get the mail. It's your girl that gets the mail, right? Your
Yes, sir,
person.
that's correct.
What does she do when she gets this mail?
Well, from what I understand, Chairman, is that everything at the front desk gets stamped in, get distributed. The agency that are applicable to what the mail comes into. And I was sure that Charlotte was getting her mail on time. Now, what I'm hearing today, is saying that she's not getting her applications in on time from the front desk.
Well, this last stuff, she got all the applications and stuff Friday afternoon at 4:30.
Okay.
Our meeting is on obviously Wednesday. So that means she had to do the background checks and get all this stuff together, our forms for all the applications. She had to put all this stuff together over Monday and Tuesday. She got it done and then emailed it to us Tuesday evening. So we're trying to figure out, we need to figure out a way that this stuff, when it comes in, you see, that day it needs to get to Charlotte so she can start, because by the standards, not by the standards, but by the rules, the applicant is only required to get that application 1 week prior to the meeting. So stuff's only coming in at the latest on Wednesday. And if they're holding it for, if it stays in their cubicle for a day or 2 days or whatever, it holds up the process.
We
So,
have a stamp date of receipt.
Yeah.
And Charlotte got it.
well, the stamp data receipt is from Charlotte when she gets it.
Is it not stamped when it comes in?
Yeah, it should, yes, sir. That's what I'm hearing, what I'm hearing now for
Is
the
there-
first, what I'm hearing now for the first time. That's,
It's stamped by the Department of Labor or Finance
yeah,
when it comes in. But I'm not going to stamp it with that same date. I stamp it with receipt the day I get it, which was Friday.
so you got stamped date Friday. Well, I wasn't aware of that she was not getting the same day the transaction, whatever came through the mail that day back to her office. So let me go back and look at my staff and talk to them about this, because my understanding was when things comes in at the front desk, it is stamped and then it's delivered to the agency that are applicable to the mail that's received. So if you're not getting, yes, sir. And if that's not happening, and certainly I'm gonna go back and look at that term. And let me be first to say that that's not happening, Charlotte. I would certainly look at that. And if you come.
For one thing, because I'm having to rush to try to get all of this stuff done. And just like with the length of today's agenda, I mean, I was rushed and I still, I feel like I probably missed some stuff, which I probably did, especially with insurance and stuff. But it just puts me in a bind trying to get
So-
ready before me.
We got our emails from Charlotte actually Monday evening at, we'll say, and then
Okay.
So these are the emails that we get from Charlotte with all the different applicants on. We're split on this Monday at 17. So Monday, that means we only have Tuesday to review.
Right.
Okay, most of us are working on it.
Most of us are working on Tuesday, so that means Tuesday night, we got to review
I can drive here.
15 applications. Okay, and that's why we
Yes, sir.
try to get them
Oh,
through.
absolutely. And I'm glad that, and Charlotte, I'll say this to you as to the committee as well. When things like this occur, I certainly want to know about them so I can go to the staff and find out and come back with a explanation as to what happened. If it's a situation that's occurring regularly, Charlotte, if it's something unusual, I'll let you know, but thank you for sharing, Chairman.
That's the biggest thing there, is we need to, I don't care who's to blame, I don't care, I want it fixed, we need to get it fixed, we need to make it happen so that, because he's driving actually from around Fayetteville.
Yes.
So, other side of Fayetteville, so now consider his time crunch, he's working all day Tuesday. He's gotta review this paperwork Tuesday night in order to be ready for the meeting on Wednesday morning. That he's gotta drive here on Tuesday night. So, and he said if he hasn't had time to review them, he's gonna know. Now that's affecting 15 applicants, okay? So it's not just one or two people, it's trickling downhill, we just need to get it fixed.
So, yes, sir, thank you. I will certainly look into it, and I'll certainly get back with you and the committee, and hopefully we'll reconcile this out in Charlotte. If this continues, please let me know. Just send me an email, let me know this happening. This is my first time hearing about it, but I'm certain.
It's the first time I brought it up.
We will fix it. I can say, Chairman, I can say to the committee, for those listening virtually as well, we'll fix this. It's an easy fix. I'm just gonna walk down to the front desk and make sure these things are happening according to what the secretary has prescribed. The secretary said very clearly, the information was going to get back to the various boards that's receiving mail or whatever out front that they really get.
We need to be sure it happens the same day.
Yes, sir. That's it. That's what I'm saying. That should be happening, but if this is happening, certainly, Charlotte, please let me know.
Okay.
Is there any reason why I couldn't get the insurance certificate? I mean, 'cause it's not checks in that, but I have to update the database.
Well, let me say this in regards to the situation. I'll sit down with you, Charlotte, and we'll have a conversation and we can get this thing done that you want done. I'm not aware of what you're talking about right now. So what I'll do, we'll sit down what the issues are, we'll list them out, and then I'll check them out and I'll give you our report back. Is that fair enough?
It may be beneficial to have the person you have doing this stuff receiving it as well.
Yes,
When that
we
meeting.
will. Yes, sir, absolutely.
But because some things that your person may see is not necessarily important, maybe an insurance certificate that we have to have.
Yes, sir, absolutely. And again, Chairman,
Yeah, and that's happened on more than one occasion. And we fixed it, but we need to make sure that happens anymore.
yes, sir, and I'm glad you brought it to my attention. And again, I'll make the list, I'll make a checklist. Me and Charlotte will.
Okay.
I'll check off all the items that you described today that you have concerns about. And we'll sit down a process where this was, we'll reconcile it, get it completed, and I'll report back to you next time we meet. No problem. Fair enough.
And I was misunderstanding here. I thought we got something that was received on a Tuesday and was not given to us until Friday. Is that not what happened?
Yeah, as far as when they got it,
When was it received at the
now it
front
was
desk?
different dates on,
I just wanted a date,
Well,
as far
when
as,
it was received versus when we got it.
we have to go through all of
yeah,
them,
because it'll be
but they're all
a
in.
copy of their envelope. Just so
So-
the date where-
Sir, if they receive something and we don't get it the same day, that's an issue. But if something came in on Thursday and we got it on Friday and we tried to put all that together for our meeting today, that's on our back, not on the department.
Yeah, and
That's,
it's always
that's all
gonna
I'm
be,
saying.
it's always gonna be the copy of theirs with their date in there.
Let's,
The cutoff date is the Wednesday before our meeting, period.
let's let Mr. Kane work his side.
Yes.
We'll look, take up next month if we have another issue. I don't think we will, but look at it.
If it's on our side, Charlotte, the cutoff date is Wednesday. We don't worry about Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, if it, when I used to do it, when
I don't care, the cutoff date is Wednesday before our meeting. It doesn't matter who it is or what it is, that cutoff date, so you will have time to prepare for our meeting.
Comer, for instance, Comer was June 3rd, Friday. So we don't need him.
That's
That's
just
one
been
less.
brought up.
And that's just something we've got to adhere to amongst ourselves, so we'll take care of that. Mr. Kane's gonna take care of his side, and we'll sort that out.
Absolutely, Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Yes, sir.
Okay, next meeting is currently scheduled for July 6th, here, 9:30. That may or may not be in this room though, right?
I think it's
We're gonna
supposed to be, I don't have my,
If we have a hearing, it was not picking over the hearing.
Yeah.
I would recommend doing a hearing if you're with as many of you guys.
Charlotte, double check on that and see if we can have the training room
okay,
during that time period where we had it last time.
okay.
So
I would enter.
location may change for that.
Where is the training room?
Third.
That's in Central.
Downstairs, right over, actually, right in the center.
I can make a recommendation that we move it to the next community meeting. Unless we're set in stone on that.
Well, I think she has that date set because that was the only date available currently. For this room.
Okay, so
But if we don't need this room, we can we move it?
If it's available, I can, I mean, I'll just have to check.
To the 13th.
July the sixth.
Oh, instead of the.
Yes,
the
that's
sixth.
it.
If it's available on July the sixth, fine. If not, July 13th.
It just depends, because a lot of these boards, that was why I started making the reservations so far here. It was hard getting them.
Right.
My secretary liked that until I lost the list.
Okay, so if I can get it on the sixth, the meeting will be on the sixth.
Yes.
If it's available on the 13th, I'll get it. I mean, well,
If it's not available, say, start again for 13th.
okay, I'll let you know, but I'll check on that today.
Anything else?
I would make a motion that we adjourn.
second that.
No discussion needed. All in favor, say aye. All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you, Ms. G.
And it's a non-debatable motion.